Hello everyone at Fleet Readiness Center Southeast. This is Captain Kim, the commanding officer. It's an honor and a pleasure for me to have this opportunity to send out a special message to you. First of all, happy anniversary, our 75th anniversary of the Fleet Readiness Center. It all began in the 1940s, and fleet readiness has never been more relevant as it is today as it was back in those times. I wanted to make sure I sent the message that I appreciate your hard work, your loyalty, and your dedication, and your service to this great nation and to our command. So happy anniversary and happy birthday, Fleet Readiness Center Southeast. Now sit back, relax, and let's take a look at how it all began.
It all started when the citizens of Jacksonville voted a $1.1 million bond issue to purchase the site for Naval Air Station Jacksonville, the only military installation in the nation established by a direct gift of the people. The Navy officially commissioned the Air Training Base October 15, 1940, on the site of Camp Joseph E. Johnston, an Army base left over from World War I during the era of biplanes and Model Ts. By March 13, 1940, the impressive architectural drawings for the $1 million aircraft maintenance facility were approved. The assembly and repair department was the most costly. To expedite construction on the mammoth 1.5 million square foot facility, the foundation, steel frame, and superstructure were contracted to 3 separate companies. Construction was started in July 1940. It remains today the largest Art Deco structure in Duval County. In August 1941, artisans overhauled and rolled out for test the first Yellow Peril, a Stearman N2S biplane, followed closely by a newly reworked North American SNJ single-engine trainer aircraft. The Stearman was usually the first airplane a student would fly when becoming a U.S. Naval aviator or Army Air Corps cadet before moving on to the NR-1 Ryan. The Stearman's simple, steel tube fuselage and the wood and fabric wings made the aircraft a durable trainer capable of taking lots of abuse. PBY-1 and 2 Catalina aircraft replaced the P-2Y-3 seaplanes operating on the base. Patrol bomber training was one of the main aviation training programs conducted at NAS JAX throughout World War II. By December 1941, 578 aircraft were operational, such as the Stearman, the Ryan, and the SNJ trainers, as well as the Grumman J2F Duck, the Vought Kingfisher, and the Curtiss SNC-1 Falcon. The pace of training and construction increased as America entered World War II after the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor in December 1941. NAS JAX was soon operating 3 runways more than 6,000 feet long, as well as seaplane ramps into the St. Johns River. During the war, the assembly and repair department's labor force reached 7,300, of which 3,500 were military. Crews worked around the clock to return vital aircraft to the front lines. Bill Davis enlisted in the Navy in 1942 and worked at the Assembly and Repair Department until his discharge in 1945. He rejoined the depot's civilian workforce and served as a mechanic's helper for a short time until his promotion to mechanic.
Well, when I went, I think I started at 68 cents an hour. I know when I first went there in '42, we had fabric-covered aircraft. We put assembled, it was A&R at that time.
The first contingent of enlisted women or waves reported to NAS JAX from boot camp in January 1943. Before the end of the war, more than 1,500 waves, enlisted and officers, were on duty at the air station.
My wife was a wave. She was in the first class of waves out of Philadelphia. And she came here in 1942.
World War II ended in Europe with Germany's surrender to the Western Allies and the Soviet Union in May 1945. After the United States dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, a Japanese delegation formally surrendered on the battleship USS Missouri September 2, 1945. This event officially ended a global war that lasted from 1939 to 1945. Following the war, Admiral Chester Nimitz, then the Chief of Naval Operations and widely considered as one of the greatest naval commanders in history, ordered the formation of a flight demonstration team in 1946 to keep the public interested in naval aviation. The Blue Angels, led by Lieutenant Commander Roy Butch Voris, performed their first flight demonstration flying the Grumman F-6F Hellcat in June 1946 at their home base here on NAS Jax. The team later flew the F-8F Bearcat. The Assembly and Repair Department was mainly overhauling the F-4U Corsair by early 1947. The department also opened a new indoor firing range to test overhauled machine guns. It was the first of its kind in the United States. The facility underwent a name change in July 1948 when it went from the Assembly and Repair Department to the Overhaul and Repair Department. The facility was getting into the jet business by November 1949 as the first McDonnell FH-1 Phantom arrived for overhaul. It was the first all-jet airplane ordered into production by the Navy, and the Navy's first airplane to fly 500 miles per hour. The Blue Angels, now flying the F-9F Panther, performed a show at the station in April 1950. Just 2 months later, the team was out of the air show business and flying combat duty in Korea as an operational squadron until December 1952, near the war's end. When the Korean War began in 1950, the F-9F Panther comprised the vast majority of the Navy's carrier-based jet fighter aircraft. In September 1950, the downscaled Overhaul and Repair Department was still busy with F-2H Banshee and TO-2 Shooting Star jets, the F-4U Corsair, and the R-4D Transport, with artisans completing an impressive record of 281 overhauls for the quarter. By October, the department set another impressive record when the facility sold 16 overhauled aircraft as ready for tasking in one day. This one-day record has yet to be equaled. That same month, construction began on Building 200, the jet maintenance shop. The Overhaul and Repair Department was also in discussion to maintain Navy helicopters, which commenced the following year. Full-scale production was still months away, but artisans were already working on the Hups Utilities, Haas observation helicopters, and the rescue craft HRS-1 and 2.
And we built the rotor blades for the helicopters. They were wooden. For those helicopters, they were all wooden blades at that time. And they glued them together with special epoxy glue that was perfected for that.
On July 1, 1952, Cecil Field finally severed its ties with NAS Jacksonville to become a separate naval air station. VF-44 became the last fighter squadron to switch from the F-4U Corsair to the F-2H-2 Banshee jet in February 1954. At the same time, the Overhaul and Repair Department completed its final F-4U overhaul. The facility had completed 2,872 aircraft during the 10-year period since artisans first worked aircraft in 1943. In early 1955, maintainers completed work in record time on the first Grumman S-2F Tracker anti-submarine plane, specifically designed and produced for the U.S. Navy to help combat enemy submarines. By April, crews began constructing a $2.5 million helicopter hangar. The Overhaul and Repair Department was busy in May 1955 outfitting aircraft for Operation Deep Freeze, an expedition to the South Pole with Admiral Richard Byrd, who served as the officer in charge. Artisans fitted R-4D Skytrain transport planes and Haas helicopters to withstand the rigors of the cold Antarctic weather. They also painted the aircraft a bright orange paint scheme so they would stand out in the white snow. In September 1955, the department earned the designation as the Navy's overhaul facility for all Cutlass jets. Artisans started overhaul and repair on the F-7U-3 Cutlass jet aircraft. To accommodate air operations for the aircraft, the air tower had to be raised an additional story to provide a full view of the entire landing field and air traffic patterns. Construction crews completed the helicopter repair hangar in 1956. the present-day site where artisans reworked P-3 Orions, and helicopter operations transferred from Hangar 123.
We had the helicopters, we had the RE-5, they had the HTL-6 and the 7. That's the helicopter we had. It had the front, that we formed the fronts on the things. Take big plexiglass sheets, and they would be heated and formed, and we'd form those and make the fronts on them.
The department moved the R4D assembly line into the new 200 by 500 foot hangar. With the addition of the huge structure, the overhaul and repair department had roofed areas covering almost 24 acres. The paint shop was busy changing Navy aircraft paint schemes by phasing out the common navy blue colors, with 18 different task-oriented color schemes now in use. As a result, workers painted trainer aircraft white and international orange, while aircraft used in areas of high air traffic density received a coat of gray and white camouflage, and helicopters were decked out in orange, yellow-orange, gray, green, or even a special fluorescent paint, each according to their assigned task. The first P-3 Orion landed at the station on October 1, 1959. A Lockheed demonstration team brought in a P-3V1 aircraft to convince naval personnel to adopt the platform over the P-2V Neptune aircraft, which were being used by the patrol squadrons at that time. The decade of the 1950s saw unparalleled growth for the air station. This growth and the station's vital importance would be further shown during the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Vietnam War in the next decade.
Hey, this is Tony Baselli. I wanted to tell you congratulations on 75 years of service to the Fleet Readiness Center Southeast.
Congratulations on 75 years of service to the United States Navy. Since 1940, the Fleet Readiness Center at NAS Jax has kept our naval fleet sleek, strong, and efficient, and kept our pilots and crews safe. So to the 5,000 military personnel, contractors, and civilians, thank you for your service to our country and for your vital contributions to our national defense.